New here. My name is Janelle. I'm a wife and mom, and I'm completing a doctorate in applied theology. If this is your first time finding me, this is definitely a different video. I think, like many of us, hearing about Charlie Kirk's death today, it really shook me in a way that I haven't been shaken in a long time. We have a shooter who was very talented with a very powerful weapon, someone who could escape suspicion, kill the target, and evade arrest. The victim today was a man whose literal job was to go around the country and have rational, nonviolent conversations with people. And he would invite whoever wanted to come up and ask him questions and to engage in dialogue. And granted, sometimes the dialogue created tension. He certainly pushed buttons, but by and large, he was attempting to have conversations with people on the other side of the political aisle. And my fear initially was people are going to become afraid to do this. People are going to pause before they decide to go and cross the aisle and have conversations with people who don't agree with them. People are going to be afraid to step into the arena and to do the Lord's work, right? Those were my initial fears. But I have been so comforted as I've read our early church fathers, and in particular Tertullian's words. Tertullian is one of the most tragic cases of someone who very likely would have been a saint in the Catholic Church. But before he fell away from the church, he wrote magnificent apologies for Christianity. And in chapter 50, the final chapter of one of his apologies, he wrote specifically regarding Christian martyrs. This was a time when the church was under severe persecution by the Roman Empire. The torture and state-sanctioned gruesome murder of Christians was actually seen as a form of entertainment in the Roman Empire during the time of Tertullian's writing. And so he responded with the following: "And now, O worshipful judges, go on with your show of justice, and believe me, you will be juster and juster still in the opinion of the people. The oftener you make them a sacrifice of Christians. Crucify, torture, condemn, grind us all to powder if you can. Your injustice is an illustrious proof of our innocence. But do your worst and rack your inventions for tortures for Christians. It is all to no purpose. You do but attract the world and make it fall the more in love with our religion. The more you mow us down, the thicker we rise. The Christian blood you spill is like the seed you sow. It springs from the earth again and fructifies the more." Wow. The more you mow us down, the thicker we rise. I watched Megyn Kelly's live stream as she responded in real time to updates about Charlie Kirk, and in particular, there was a segment where she was speaking with Glenn Beck. And they were both in tears. I mean, obviously, they were devastated by what had happened to their friend. But Glenn Beck said something amazing, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that if we believe in God, we have to believe that God loves us and is protecting us, and we have to believe that good will come of this, that there's a reason and that God has a plan. When he said this, I was immediately reminded not only of the quote that I love to repeat about the blood of martyrs being the seed of Christians, but I'm also reminded of Romans 8:28, where it says, "We know that all things work for the good of those who love God, who are called according to his purpose." The fact of the matter is, God can move bullets. We've seen him do it before, and today he chose not to. Despite the tragedy, despite how terrible of a day this was for those of us in America, we have to remember who is having the best day. And that's Charlie, right? Charlie, I mean, we can't know, right? But my intuition tells me, and I think I also have sound logical reasons to believe this, I believe that Charlie is either in heaven or in purgatory. And I often like to think about what it's like, right? To behold the beatific vision. I often wonder what happens in heaven when a good person, someone who has run the race, who has fought the good fight, who has completed the mission that God had for them. I often think about what that reception is like in heaven. I think about when, like, Mother Teresa entered heaven and the thunderous applause, right? Or Pope John Paul II, or Carlos Acutis, who was just canonized. He was born in my birth year, by the way, 1991. It was a good year. The fact of the matter is that I think that we have good reason to believe that heaven is rejoicing today. Those of us who are sadly stuck on earth for a little while longer, our mission, our ministry, our fight isn't done. We are not done. And that's why we're still here. And we are sad and we're suffering and we are afraid of what this means for our future and for our country. But heaven is rejoicing today. Heaven is happy. God's plan is being realized. Listen, we are in a spiritual battle. The devil is after us, and I don't want to minimize that. But as Catholics, we need to be the first ones to say that God's will is being realized. As Christians, we need to cry out, the battle has already been won. a lot of conservatives are going to come out, and I fear that they're going to call for war. I've already seen it, online. I've seen like, well, I guess the next step is a revolution, right? And gosh, I urge Christians, like be the peacemakers. Those who fight with the sword die by the sword. And I'm not saying that we're not willing to fight. I'm not saying be a coward. What I am saying is to prayerfully consider your mission and your ministry in this life before you allow your anger at the injustice to overcome you, before you allow your emotions to control you, because that's what the devil wants. He wants division. He wants war. He wants fear. And the devil wants chaos. Chaos is the devil's domain. We have to be willing to follow Christ to the cross. We have to be willing to die like Charlie did. Charlie spoke with logic and reason. He was measured. He was a good father. He was a good husband. He loved his family. He loved his country, right? He was an example of masculinity. And we need to pay close attention to how much further those aspects of our vocation, right? Loving our family, loving one another, being willing to engage in respectful dialogue. We need to be examples of how much further that can take us and others towards the kingdom of heaven. That example, and of course, Christ's example on the cross, is the example that we must follow. Thank you so much for watching. Please continue to pray for Charlie's soul. Maybe even consider praying a rosary or fasting. But most importantly, just pray. It doesn't have to be fancy. Pray for unity and not division. Pray that we will be able to leave this amazing country as a beautiful place for our children. And pray, most importantly, for the fruit of whatever seeds Charlie's blood has sown. Pray that those seeds and God's plan comes to fruition quickly. If you liked this video, I hope you'll share it with someone who you think would like this message today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.